Hi, welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience. The ancestors really do guide me in such a way that I can't even explain it, you know. And I think it's because when you, as a particularly being a black person and also being a TI, being a black man, um, and never having an understanding of what white supremacy truly is, what it's entailed. We would call a white person a racist for um, calling us the N word. We'll say, "Oh, you racist," or we'll get laid off. The first people to get laid off from the job, right? Last hired, first fired, right? We'll say, "Okay, that's racist," but it goes so much more deeper than that. And this is what as a TI experience, what I experienced. Like I said, I'm not trying to diminish any other TI. If you're white, Asian, Hispanic, you know, Arab. Oh, excuse me. Let's drink some tea. Um, whatever ethnic group, whatever nationality. I would never try to diminish what's been done to you. But I'm speaking from, as a black man, from the black perspective. That goes beyond, being a TI, right? Without understanding that I've been targeted, from the time I was born, okay? And not in the sense as you might be thinking as a TI, but in the sense that as black people, as black men, black boys, black children, black babies, you know, when they say the odds are stacked against us, it really is. And what the media portrays is not all of the reality. The media will give you a small piece of reality, and they would make it, they would blow it up so big that you think it kind of, your perception of reality is kind of screwed, right? Kind of messed up. Okay. But here's the thing, and I've been saying this for the past decade. There's a book that I have. It's called, there's a few of them. Okay. And again, whenever they try to engage in this rhetoric about, oh, I hate black women and this and that, it's the furthest thing from the truth. See, the white supremacists know that when black men and black women love themselves and they love each other, they will do whatever necessary to create false narrative, right? To change our personality in ways in which to get us to hate each other, right? And what they've done, particularly with black women, is that no one can even criticize them in any way. Okay, and if you listen to Shahrazad Ali, who wrote the Black Man's Guide to Understanding Black Women, um, a lot of what she says in her book is true, and she's not the only one. You look at Ayanna Van Dant, right? Ayanna fixed my life, you know, and and her taking accountability, right, taking ownership, and saying to herself, you know what, I was a terrible mother, but I was a great father. Because she didn't have that motherly nurturing ways and motherly instinct because again, depend because of her situation, right? But today's women, particularly today's black women, I should say Negro European women, and again, I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, right? If you are a black woman and you're a Christian, you're a Negro European. If you're a black woman, well, I say a black woman and a black man who are Christian, who think or who believe that the city of love is Paris, who find going to fantasizing about going to Europe and such and such, that's because you are a Negropean. Okay, because they have severed your connection to the continent of Africa and African countries in which the majority of people are black, like you and I, right? I'm talking about if you're a black TI or a black person, all right? So this is what they've done, okay? And so, as again, I said this before, as TIs, we are the distraction. We are the distraction to what? To hide the truth from the masses, to keep the masses engaged in this game which is not. It's a game. It's a game that destroys people's lives, right? It's a game that is done to where the assaults, the attacks, are hidden because it's psychological, because it's based also on uh, uh, directed energy weapons, microwave, radio wave frequency weapons, not just for mind control and manipulation, but to also harm you physically, biologically, neurologically, psychologically, right? And so we all heard about the school to prison pipeline. I said, as black people, we are target individuals. That's why I always shake my head and call them dumbasses, right? You know what I'm saying? Not the black people, the European people, right? Because I'm a black person, I'm a black man. Okay, I don't have to. At my age, I'm not looking to find me. All right. If you're in your fifth, you hear this amongst women a lot, right? Particularly not just black women only, or European only, but other groups of women. At 50 something years old, they're like, oh, I'm still searching for to see to know who I am, to know me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't hear other groups of women talking like this in mass, okay? But this is how we're being conditioned, right? So this is how, it's interesting. I listen to Bobby Hemmett. He says, and not even also Bobby Hemmett, but also Dr. John Henry Clark. He talks about they have to make you as a black person, they have to make your mind, your psychological state, childlike, right? Because even in the Bible says, you know, um, when Jesus said, if you come onto me, right, you have to reduce yourself into a childlike state. Okay, so we never really grow up to being fully fully psychologically developed men and women. So we might be physically developed, some of us physically overdeveloped, right? But when it comes to our psychology, when it comes to the falsification of our African consciousness, we are in a childlike state for the vast majority of our lives. Right? And many people don't understand that. They don't get it. And religion plays a big part of it. Okay? And so when I was talking about, you know, years ago, man, almost, I'm talking about probably almost a decade ago, about the war on black women and black girls. Okay? I knew what was happening. I did videos on it, talked about it. And no one, because again, they take away your voice, or they try to take away your voice, right? They try to make you less than human, right? So that people will turn their back on you. For what? For speaking the truth. Never mind the narrative they're trying to put out there. Never mind what they've done to you as a TI or me as a TI, you know, to get people to become involved in targeting us the way that they target us. The psychological harassment, the psychological warfare, the covert warfare, the cognitive warfare, the neurocognitive warfare, right? Because again, we are the distraction for the masses, right? And so, like I said, as a black person, when I see other black people engage in that type of behavior, particularly how lately they've been using a lot of elderly black women, right? And the reason why they use a lot of elderly black people, because once, elderly black women in particular, they're more religious than the younger black women. Okay, they grew up in a different time, different era, right? So there's again. I want to show you. I can't even show you guys this. Let me see if I can show you guys this. Hold on a sec. Let's do this. And this. Okay. So there's this book here. It's called Invisible No More. All right. Police violence against black women and women of color. Right. Another book is called White Tears, Brown Scars: How White Feminism Betrays Women of Color. All right. And these books, and the reason why I bought these books is again because I was reading a lot about, you know, I've been saying, you know, these white supremacists for the past 40 years, they have concentrated, particularly in the 80s, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they were attacking black men and black boys. Okay, and so for about a decade and a half, when you see the big push, black women, you know, going to college, and again, what black women didn't quite understand is that they were being preyed on by the white financial institution, particularly the um, college loans, right? So they were going to these expensive schools, taking out all these loans, graduating, and not getting a job that can pay them enough to repay those loans, right? Black women in particular, right? These white financial institutions preyed on black women. When I talk about this system is predatory towards black people, okay, I'm not saying that. The evidence is there. They show it. Okay? And I said this. I said, you know, they have done their job with black men, right? And black boys. When you look at the statistics in terms of black boys in school, reading, school to prison pipeline, they continue to decimate black children. Okay? But of course, you know, the Negropeans, they're in the church, what have you, they ignore it. They don't statistics. What is statistics? I don't get it. Statistics. What? Listen. I go by my anecdotal experience. What I see is what I see, and that's how it is. You know, not understanding America is a big country. America has over 328 million people. Okay, and because you live in your city may have what, 7 million people. All right. So your anecdotal experience may be in terms of interacting with people, your job, you know, your friends, what have you. What, less than 100 people? All right, maybe less than 50 people, I would say. Okay. So we are blinded because we live in our own bubble, and religion is used as a tool to make us ignore the reality. And again, this is how they engage in cognitive warfare. And what happened with cognitive warfare? Remember, cognitive warfare you know, is the umbrella, and underneath that umbrella you have psychological warfare, you have um, economic warfare, you have uh, educational warfare. You know, everything else fall under the cognitive warfare. Okay, so like I said, so in the 70s, 80s, 90s, you know, particularly in the 80s, where crack cocaine decimated the black family, black men and black women, and then again also taking the father out the home, right? If the black woman have to get on welfare to get help from the government. Meanwhile, in the white community, they encourage the families to stick together. As a matter of fact, and if the families stick together, they give them more aid, right? To understand how there's a history here, okay, that we tend to not want to know the truth about, okay, because religion and white Jesus, okay, make you say to yourself, oh well, you know, that was a long time ago. We don't need to do. It's still happening today. It's still happening today. They've made us into more believers than they can ever. They couldn't fathom how good this shit was gonna work. Okay, so the targeting of young black boys, which will end up, which again, we grew up into young men not being told uh, the truth, not being prepared for the reality of America, and not really understanding what white supremacy is all about. Okay, and the people that you interact with, particularly white people, how cruel that they can be. And like I said, because we think we live in New York, or a big city like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, in California, what have you, that we tend to be blinded. We look at racism as though, okay, that's the white police beating up on black men and black women. No, it's the white people move, gentrifying your community, right? That's a form of violence, okay? And so now, like I said, over the past decade and a half, they have been putting more focus on black girls in particular, right? Just like how you had the school to prison pipeline, and you look at even now, it's today, black boys and black girls are suspended at a far higher rate than white girls and white boys for the same school type of school infraction. And what saddens me, like I said, is that you have black women, particularly in large cities like Chicago, New York, right, where they themselves are punishing black children, and particularly black boys, more so than Hispanic boys and white boys. Right? So when you hate yourself, you're going to hate the people that look like you. You're going to hate the children that will grow up to look like you. Cognitive warfare. All right? And I've been saying this. I said this earlier today too. You look at the incarceration rate amongst black women today, and it is increasing. It has been on an upward trajectory over the past decade. And the media don't want to talk about it. The media don't want to talk about it. Okay? And again, this is like I said, they what they have done is to manipulate the minds of the older black women to not teaching their daughters the truth, to accepting, their daughters engaging in all sorts of reckless behaviors, dressing whoever they want, teaching them no self-respect, because they want friends. They want their children, particularly their daughters, to be their best friend. And so what they don't understand is that what you are doing, as with the young boys, when you try to baby them, because again, there's no father in the house. So what, again, boys don't know how to handle their emotions. Okay. So again, that's something, they don't think about. They don't think about that shit. All right. Because of it's a deep conditioning, psychological conditioning in their psyche, in their subconscious mind. So again, this is nothing new. I was just watching a video with Nancy Pelosi and some other another black woman representative talking about the war on black girls, and there's a film. Okay, it's called Pushed Out, documentary of the criminalization of black girls in school. Why isn't the mainstream media talking about that? Why isn't these people on YouTube talking about that? And I'm going to do another video about this on my other channel. Right? Again, as TIs, like I said, we are the distraction. Never mind the Sambos and the Sambinas. Never mind, I don't know if you're white or whatever terminology you want to call white people. You're people or the Asians. I guess Asiapians. And his Hispanopians. You know what I'm saying? For Hispanic brothers and sisters, right? The Asian brothers and sisters who are TIs, call them Asiapians. But again, I'm speaking as a black person. And I do this because, again, I want particularly my people to understand what is being done, that they are being distracted. Okay, it's called misdirection. All right, so let's look at this article. So the black girl push out. Monique W. Morris, the co-founder of the National Black Women's Justice Institute, offers tactics to work against damaging stigmas, by Melinda D. Anderson. The good girl, the bad girl dichotomy, as chronicled by Monique W. Morris in the Push Out, the criminalization of black girls in school, is a condition that has plagued black girls and women for time immemorial. Society's deeply entrenched expectation of black girls, influenced by racism and patriarchy, has led to and again, because this is a feminist woman talking here, because we know that black women, as they get older, they more so believe in patriarchy more than anything else, but a certain type of patriarchy, where now they want the man to pay all the bills, right? You see, when they're younger, they are strong and independent. Again, this is the trap. They don't need no man, this and that. They engage in all sorts of things. But as they get older, remember, woman body changes, particularly after they're having kids. Having children is a huge thing for any woman, but for black women, right, it is sometimes frightening, dangerous, because they're black. So when I talk about black women being given C-sections, right, at at a higher rate than any other group of women, why? Because again, white supremacy will always find ways to make money off of black bodies. The Negro Europeans not listening though, and if that means killing black women or killing black men, then so be it. And they get away with it. They get away with it. When doctors are giving black women C-section when they don't need it, when they can have a natural birth, and then after giving them C-section, ignore their pains, don't stitch them up properly to where they end up dying. They're not treating them as human beings. They're treating them as, hey, this is money right here. Whether she lives or die, whether the baby lives or die, don't make no difference to me. That's their mindset. Again, you have to believe me. Go look at the statistics on this. Okay? So like I said, so the patriarchy thing now, like I said, the older they get, now all of a sudden you can see them all over social media. Right? They're all having, these speed dates, which no man is showing up. They're all in their 30s, 40s, dressed nice, overweight, obese. All right? Because the psychological conditioning makes them ignore their health, not only their mental health, but their physical health. And because we as black men are so loving towards them, regardless of what, the media try to say, regardless of what some of the the Negro European feminist women try to say, okay? There's no other group of men in the world, and particularly in America, that accepts their women, whether they have bad attitudes, they're out of shape, they're, they're they've been psychologically damaged, they've been essayed and haven't gotten the therapy, and we have to deal with their mindset that can cause us our lives, right? And we still deal with them. It's because we love black women, regardless of say. Just because I may criticize you, okay, but I still tell you I love you, because I want you to come into that self-realization. I want you to come into that consciousness, so you can start affect changing yourself. Religion not going to do for you. If you think God's going to do for you what they call God, that's not going to happen. That's only temporary. You need to look within yourself. Look within your ancestors, that's in you. Ask them for guidance. Okay? If you want to look outside of you, which you really can't, if you want to say, I always use the Kemetic term, which is the neter. And neter means nature. That divine masculine, that divine feminine creative force. That feminine and masculine, that duality. Unlike your Christian religion, unlike your Muslim, your Islam, your Judaism, right? Which is, again, a masculine. There is no feminine divine in creation. And when it comes to the creation involving woman, there is pain. There is shame. But in the Kemetic spiritual system, the female is the creator. Life grows within her. Life comes out of her. Yes, we as men, we help to fertilize that seed. It is the woman that carried the seed, not the men. The men carry the divine living waters. Okay? But it's the woman who have to see that our divine waters which is called sperm, fertilize. Okay. So anyway, I don't want to detract too much, but so women, like I said, they believe in patriarchy as they get older. Okay, so again, it's a feminist woman that wrote this, but hey, it is what it is. But I still gotta call them out and stuff because again, you know, because of how they're conditioned, particularly in Western society, they say certain things and it's really, I mean, anyway. So yes, influenced by racism and patriarchy has led to a ritual whereby these young women are often mischaracterized and mislabeled because of how they look, dress, speak, and act. In short, black girls are devalued based on how others perceive them. Okay? And I was sick about this the other day. I said, there isn't any black woman who will correct another other black woman for being ratchet. They celebrate it. If they don't celebrate it, they celebrate it. If they don't celebrate it loud, they celebrate it quietly. Or if they don't, excuse me, they don't approve of it, they're silent because it's that girl code. And I would say if black women with their girl code can put that same energy into the black code, we'll be moving in the right direction in no time. Okay, as evidence, Morris offers the historical account of a black teen named Claudette Colvin, who refused to relinquish her bus seat to a white passenger in March 1955 before Rosa Parks made history with the Montgomery bus boycott. Colvin was seemingly an ideal role model against segregated busing. She was an A student. She was an A student who had studied Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, and Jim Crow racial injustice. Yet, Colvin was feisty and argued with the white policeman before getting arrested. She was also working class, dark skinned, and pregnant. According to elders within Montgomery black community and elders, these factors taken altogether made Colvin unsuitable as a standard bearer for the civil rights movement. This inclination to judge and condemn black girls is also seen in recent example that sparked national outrage, including Kiera Wilmot, Kiera Wilmot, the 16-year-old Florida girl expelled for a harmless science experiment. Dejaria Benton, the 15-year-old girl tossed and pinned to the ground by a McKinley, Texas police officer during a pool party squabble, and during a pool party squabble, and Shakira, the 16-year-old girl, dragged out of her seat and thrown across a South Carolina classroom over a cell phone. As Pusher documented, these are hardly isolated cases. The stigma, the stigmas many attacks attached. Sorry, the stigma many attached. I'm tired. The stigma many attached to black girls has far-reaching and damaging consequences. When I say I'm tired of using this, no, y'all motherfuckers are tired. I'm tired because I'm exhausted. Okay, I've been up very early. So, and damaging consequences. Morris writes with devastating effect on their academic, social, and emotional lives. A veteran educator, civil rights, and social justice scholar, Morris is the co-founder of the National Black Women's Justice Institute, a group dedicated to combating disparities affecting black women, girls, and other families. She recently shared some thoughts with The Atlantic on intervention to help black girls in school. The interview that followed had been edited lightly and condensed for clarity. So I'm not going to read all that stuff, right? But the condition in which majority of black people are raised in, okay, regardless of what the media will tell you, media will show you a very small percent of black people doing well, very very small. Go look at those cartoons with Neely Fuller. Neely Fuller explained it perfectly. Okay, they got to put a few black people out there, less than 1% of the black population. Allow them to attain wealth, status, right, within the society, and then put them all over television, all over the media, and make it seem as if black people are, the majority of black people are doing well. When we know in America, whenever the majority of black people start to do well, what happens? There's always going to be a financial crash. There's always going to be some type of predatory scheme to manipulate and to prey on black people so they can steal their money. Okay, this is the history. And like I said, and now you see black women, okay, increase police violence against black women, increase black girls being punished harshly in school, right? And like I said, there have been over the past decade an increase in the incarceration rate amongst black women. No one is looking at that. Okay, again, misdirection, cognitive warfare. All right. Well, that's it. I am so tired. I really am. I had to do this video because, again, it's like I said, I was just talking about this. I mentioned this in the video earlier. And then I get home and, went on YouTube and they showed up. All right. So the ancestors are guiding me. They're guiding me, and I'm listening. And like I said, it is my purpose to expose what's going on, to make what's invisible visible. We are charged, those of us, whether we're a white TI, black TI, Asian TI, Hispanic TI, Native American TI, whatever kind of TI you are. If you are exposing what's being done, right? Because you know that it's your duty, it is your purpose to make what's invisible visible, so people can be awakened to the truth. All right. Talk to you guys in the next video.